Greetings. Today I'll discuss the personal statement. For those of you actively pursuing graduate or professional school, the personal statement is by far the most critical piece that you have in your application packet. The personal statement serves as the only form of marketing material that you have from your voice to advocate as to why a selection committee should choose you to be a part of their incoming cohort. So we're going to explore some do's and don'ts of the personal statement. The first thing, as the name indicates, is that the statement is personal, not intimate. So tone is incredibly important. Make sure that you're able to tell your personal testimony without making it melodramatic or focusing too much on the actual narrative. Remember, the personal statement has two primary goals. One, to tell the selection committee about you in terms of your character and your moral compass. Secondly, the personal statement serves as an explanation as to why you're a competitive candidate for the program. So with this said, let's get into some do's and don'ts. Personal statement tip number 1. Don't state the obvious. What this means is that if it's on the website, it's not in your personal statement. So for example, if you're applying to an Ivy League institution or a school that is number 1 for your discipline or program, you don't want to restate the rankings or talk about the prestige of the institution. You're writing to a panel of subject matter experts and faculty members who are well aware of the rankings. Instead, you should take this time to talk more so about your personal achievements and why you're a good fit for the institution. Tip number 2, make sure you start your personal statement in an engaging way. A good practice of doing this is to talk about your aha moment. By aha moment, I mean, what's the reason you want to do what you want to do? For example, if you're seeking to pursue a clinical psychology program, growing up, did you always ask why? Were you mildly obsessed with why people did what they did and why they behaved the manner in which they behaved in? Did you have a project in abnormal psychology which you found especially interesting, and from that point on, that solidified your interest in clinical psychology? Starting off with the introductory paragraph with a personal narrative makes your personal statement very much so engaging. Make sure, if you choose to do this method, that you tell it in the voice that you were at that point in time, meaning your 6-year-old self or your 14-year-old self. 2, make sure that you are detailed and vivid. You do want to set the scene. This piece is important because you want the selection committee to know what cultivated your passion for this industry. Tip number 3, the selection committee is very much interested in knowing what is your original scholarly research. You've been in school for 4 years or maybe even a little bit longer. So the selection committee wants to know, how have you not upheld the status quo? With this being said, you should outline 3 to 4 examples of research papers, oral presentations, or poster presentations in which you've documented your original scholarly research. Make sure to give the title of your research, give reflections and observations as to what you learned from that research, and then say how by conducting that research, it further cultivated your interest in the industry. Tip number 4 for the personal statement. Make sure you have a customized paragraph which outlines why this school is a good fit for you. If you're applying to graduate school, you should make sure that you outline at least 2 professors whose research interest aligns with yours and shows how. Also, if there's anything that the city and state can provide as a resource for you, note that as well. For example, if you're interested in pursuing educational psychology and you're applying to the University of Michigan, By virtue of you attending school in Ann Arbor, Michigan, you're not too far from Detroit, Michigan, which has the worst school district in the nation. That way, you'll be around your subject matter when you're conducting your research. Something else you want to be cognizant of in your personal statement is to stay away from the use of flowery language. For example, many students have the tendency to use adjectives to show why they're a competitive candidate. Does this sound familiar? I am hardworking, dedicated to excellence, and will do incredibly well in your graduate school program. Instead of saying hardworking, dedicated, and will do well, you can say, throughout my tenure in my undergraduate years, I was able to maintain a part-time job coupled with a distinguished GPA, as well as become a noted student leader throughout campus. Those will support the adjectives that you truly want to say. This is what I call showing the selection committee and not telling them.